Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first session for the No Barriers Warriors at Home program. I'm super excited to see so many people on with us today. Yeah, this is awesome. So my name is Nate Gillette. I'm the Backcountry Programs Manager here at No Barriers, and I've been the program manager for our Warriors program for a few years until COVID hit, and then we pivoted here at No Barriers, and that's how we are all sitting here looking at our computer screens today. I have with me my good friend Paul Smith.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, Paul's one of our Warriors alumni. He's one of our guest speakers today. I also have on Richard Casper, who is the co-founder and executive director of Creativets, and we'll have Richard come on here in a brief moment. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going on for the next 6 weeks. I know he sent you some emails and stuff, but just kind of to hear it from me right out. So first and foremost, though, on these Thursday night community meetings, we can't see anybody. So the only video that is shown is would be us, the panelists. So no need to be nervous if you like signed on, sitting there in your underwear. Like, we cannot see you wherever you are. So you can join us from anywhere and anyhow, and we're just happy that you're here. So every week we'll kick off on a Thursday at 6 p.m. with one of these meetings where we'll have some awesome guests come in and chat a little bit about No Barriers and some of the impact they've had on people's lives. We'll talk about some of the No Barriers life elements. Those are some of those signs behind us, and they're sort of our recipe for a good living. And I'll key you guys up on the at-home activity for the week, which is the way that we want you guys to be able to, stay engaged away from the computer screen. Because one of our goals with making this program was absolutely to give you options to not be in front of a computer. Because as much as I'm excited that you guys are here, I know that we've all been, and if you haven't, you're lucky, but we've all been getting a lot more screen time than before. So I hope that you all take advantage of those at-home activities. And yeah, and you're more than welcome to do all those with your friends and family, anybody that you have around. So it doesn't have to be just you. And we encourage you guys to upload photos and stories from that. And then next week, starting next Monday, we have everybody broken out into squads, and you'll get your squad assignments tomorrow. We just closed registration today, so we wanted to let as many people join as possible. And then we're going to break you all into some small squads and assign a facilitator to you, and then you're going to get to be able to meet, and then you will have videos, so please wear more than just your underwear when you show up to your small squad meeting, because people will be able to see you, and we hope that you are able to meet some new people and share your stories and your successes and your troubles, and really just have a good time with folks. And that'll go on for 6 weeks. And if you remain engaged with this program, everybody is either gotten or will get one of our program start kits. We did just get them in the mail last Friday, and if you signed up this week, we're going to mail our second round this Friday. So yeah, again, if you haven't got it yet, no worries. If you don't get it by the end of next week, shoot us an email. We'll make sure you get it. But if you stay engaged, if you come to at least half of your squad meetings, and submit for half of your at-home activities, we will reward you with a completion kit, which is going to have some pretty cool stuff in it. So yeah, that's kind of the program. On these, feel free to keep that chat flowing. I love seeing so many people just shooting the breeze, and yeah, feel free to do that. And then as our guests start chatting, if you have any questions or answers, just pop them down in the Q&A at the bottom, and we'll answer those until we don't have time to answer them. So with that, I'd like to introduce you guys to Richard Casper. Richard, are you floating around there?
I sure am.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so again, guys, Richard is the executive director and co-founder of Creativets. And yeah, Richard, I'd love it if you could tell everybody a little bit about Creativets and your story with that, and then yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, so Creativets is a nonprofit that helping wounded veterans heal through the arts and music. And so we have two major programs, our arts programs, where we enroll veterans from all over the country to the School Leader Institute of Chicago, University of Southern California, and we pay for the veterans food, flight, housing, all 3 weeks to go to one of these schools to learn how to transition their warrior brain to their artist brain. And then we do have our songwriting program too, which has been a super hit success to a lot of different veterans, but we fly in veterans from anywhere in the country to Nashville, Tennessee to write with some pro and #1 songwriters. And most of the time we do it backstage at the Grand Ole Opry to tell their story for the first time. So everything we do is about transitioning that warrior brain to your artist brain, to think differently about your experiences and kind of putting a good memory on those experiences. We have multiple kind of low touch, medium touch programs. Those are our high touch programs. The low and medium ones where we partner with Country Music Hall of Fame to offer songwriting lessons to veterans all over the country. We partner with people like No Barriers, and we come out to the retreats and we do some one-on-one writes. It's been pretty awesome, and we plan on getting to every single art form at one point.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And you guys, Creativets mission definitely aligns with No Barriers, especially our Warriors program. And we've gotten to see your work and the way that you work with veterans in person at our No Barriers summits. Can you tell me a little bit about what your experience was at our summits?
Yeah, so the first time, honestly, I've never heard of No Barriers before, and I got a call from one of my friends, Chuck from Prudential, and he just said, "Hey, Prudential is hosting this dinner for this awesome nonprofit called No Barriers here in New York. I want to do some type of entertainment, some music." And I said, "You know what, Chuck?" I was like, "We don't do, yeah, we work with #1 artists and songwriters and some awesome people, but we don't entertain." I was like, "That's just a byproduct of what we create. So how about this?" I was like, "If we're doing something, I'll fly some songwriters to New York and we'll write with a veteran there." And so he was super pumped that we were able to do that. And we went to New York, did it, and I was blown away by No Barriers. And he ended up inviting me to the next one too at Lake Tahoe. And that's where you guys remember me from, is coming out to Lake Tahoe and writing a killer song. And I mean, every experience I have with the veterans is just, I don't know, it just opens up my eyes, because when I first started this, I thought that every veteran was going to be like me, where my first song was a story about my buddy who was shot and killed beside me, like trying to process that. And I figured a bunch of people might feel the same way, but over 108 veterans have come to one-on-one programming, or we've went to them, and almost every song is different. I mean, they kind of touch on the same things, but they're so different. So each time I get in one of these rooms with someone, you never know what you're going to get. And it's always so humbling and so amazing. And having a veteran who says, "I can't tell my wife this story," and they go into something deep and dark, but then right after they have the song, they text their wife and say, "Babe, listen to the song I just wrote." And it's about that situation they couldn't talk about. So completely like just putting a new like focus on what that meant to them. It's so hard to describe.
Yeah, I totally get the hard to describe. It really takes like kind of experiencing some of this stuff in person and being there to really grasp it. But I think you did a really good job of describing it. And one of our No Barriers life elements is vision. And vision is kind of like looking inside yourself and looking at your community and your world and trying to identify the path that you want. And I'm really curious. How did you come to the vision of starting this organization called Creativets? Like what from your past kind of gave you the idea, and like what really drove you to do it?
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps from '03 to '07, and before that, I was not an artist, not a musician, not a songwriter. I'm just, a 6'5" combat Marine from a farm town, 1,100 people. And I went to war, and I ended up, my Humvee got hit 4 separate times by IEDs, which left me with a left traumatic brain injury. So when I transitioned home and I tried to start college, I tried to do business and other things. And all of a sudden I was failing all my classes. And that's when I went to the VA and they diagnosed me with my brain injury. So I was at legitimately the bottom of my rope. I mean, if 0 was killing yourself, 100 was me before war. I was at probably like a 9, roughly a 9. And I discovered art. It was legitimately, for me, it was a cop out. I said, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to get an easy degree in art and that's it. And I'll try to I'll try to figure out my life after that. I was still trying to be optimistic about at least getting a degree, even though I knew I couldn't do business anymore. And then I discovered art at this local community college when I was doing this piece about my gunner who was shot and killed beside me. I visit his grave every single year, and I have this photo of me at his grave with the tattoo where I have his name on my arm. And I just wanted to create it for me. I didn't want it for anybody else. I just wanted to create it for me. And so I'm drawing this thing out, coloring it in the way it's supposed to be colored. The only thing I had left not colored in was the background, which is grass. And so you think green. And a teacher came up behind me and said, "Hey, I know you're going to do the grass green, but I really encourage you to do it a color that doesn't make sense to the way grass would be, but it makes sense to the way you feel inside." And I thought at first I was like, that's kind of stupid. I don't want to mess up this awesome drawing. And I said, you know what, screw it. And I did everything red. And when we got to critique time and they're like, "Richard, do you want to talk about your piece?" I was like, heck no, I don't want to talk about my piece. And then they're like, "Students, what do you think about Richard's piece?" And they said, "You know what? I think you put red in there because you saw him die. You saw the blood. I think you put red in there because you're angry that he died." Like everything these students said, I was like, how do they know my story? I just did one color. So in my head, I started, okay, what is this? And I started researching conceptual art and I started diving into it. After 2 years at the community college, I got enrolled into the best art school in the country, the School of the Arts Institute of Chicago. And it was the only school I applied for because at that point I was like, okay, and like just like the previous song we wrote with No Barriers, I was like, this is my mountain. This is what I got to tackle. I want the School of the Arts Institute of Chicago. And so I go there, and at the same time, I'm studying creative writing, and I start doing a lot of art about war, but I stopped and I couldn't do art about Luke, who was shot and killed. And I said, what if I could have a song that I could just give to people? Because I didn't want to cry in front of people. And so I said, every time I bring up Luke, I cry. What if I could write a song that, and if anybody asked me about him, I could just hand it to him and walk away. So that was the whole process. So after 4.5 years of studying art, writing music, I got the chance to go to Nashville by myself with a writer I met while I was in Chicago he has like 10 #1 hits. He wrote Alan Jackson's first #1, Here in the Free World. He wrote Highway Don't Care. He wrote a ton of songs. And I said, hey, if I come to you in Nashville, you help me tell my story. And he said, yes. And so I came here, wrote a song with him. It changed my life. So when I graduated from the School of the Arts Institute of Chicago, I was at like 85% me. I was able to talk. I used to have to do one-on-one speeches. Now I'm actually talking to people, getting a job. It just felt so good. And I look back at my life and I said, well, what other big old combat Marine is going to do art and music? Like I understood it could save so many lives. So I decided right then and there to create programs that would entice me when I was at the 9 to come through those programs. So from day one, we made sure that everything was paid for all those friction points I talked about earlier, the flights, the food, the housing, only other combat veterans or wounded veterans in those main programs for right now. And so you're in a class with like-minded people using that cultural competency, just covering all the bases. So yeah, it was my own experience and healing through intentional learning of art, not art therapy. I was doing art that was therapeutic in nature, but I was being very intentional about the way I was using it, which helped me remap my brain.
That's awesome, man. And to find something like that not only helps you so much, but then you can re-gift that, like share your passion and know that it's helping other people is it's pretty tough to beat that feeling. So that's awesome. And thanks so much for sharing that, Richard. And we'll come back to you. I'm gonna have Paul give a quick chat here, and then we'll come back on and chat about how you and Paul work together.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys. So again, we got Paul Smith here. Paul is one of our Warriors program alumni from way back. He's a great dude, and I wanted to have Paul here to share a little bit of his experience with No Barriers and some of his story.
Hey, thanks, Nate. So just a real quick bio on me. I served in the Army. I was with the 1st Cav Division. I served in Iraq. 2004 was blown up with an IED. Truck destroyed. Was hospitalized for about 6 months, and was subsequently retired from the Army in 2007. And it just left me with such a void. I spent 3 years literally wanting to die. A couple attempts where I had taken a lot of my medication, hoping I wouldn't wake up. And, each time that I did. And I started thinking that, there must be a reason that, I haven't dropped off the map. And in 2015, just by accident, I was actually at a doctor's office with my daughter and was looking through a financial magazine, and I saw a little snippet about Wells Fargo and No Barriers, and how they had a program called Warriors to Summits. And I had spent a lot of time in the mountains growing up, and they were always really healing for me. And I thought, well, I'm in such a damn dark place right now. What's it gonna hurt to apply? I figured there's no way I would get picked up, and all that kind of stuff. But I actually was, and it started slow. I knew immediately on our first trip that I was a part of something good. I didn't know where it was going to take me. I didn't know what to expect yet at that point. But my very first impression of the very first meeting with the guys and the gals at No Barriers and the other veterans that were with us, that this was going to lead me someplace, or at least I had to believe that at the time, because I needed something to believe in. And we went through that summer of training. Our goal ultimately was to climb Gannett Peak in Wyoming. It's the highest peak in Wyoming. It's a long way back there. So we had several training sessions where, I just kept getting myself physically better in shape. And as I got better in shape physically, my mind kind of started coming around with it. I really wanted the end trip to be fun. I wanted to be in shape for it. So I trained, and then I started having a purpose. So I would come back from the training, and instead of coming home and being isolated and dark, I was getting out. I was running. I was walking and swimming and doing the best I could. Okay. And it really worked out. It worked out good. Ultimately, we didn't end up summiting Gannett Peak after that. And after spending, 5 or 6 months on, a goal to summit a mountain and having it not happen, it was kind of devastating at the time. You in the mountains, they control you. The weather controls you. You don't control them. But I just felt like, everything else has led up to not being able to summit, metaphorically. And we didn't summit that. But because of the relationships and the people that I met and got in contact with, it didn't turn into a big ordeal, because when I went back home and I was sad and upset about, not being able to finish our mission, I had people to reach out to. I had a rope team. I had people I could call, and that I just wasn't allowing myself to have before. I had phone numbers, and I could have called people before, but I wouldn't, and I didn't. But after that experience, I started to reach out. And some of the things No Barriers likes you to do is they want you to make pledges. They want you to look at where you're at in your life and see the areas you need to work on. And I had a couple areas. One of them was because of my injuries in Iraq, I had been on long-term opioid pain medication. And my first pledge, and probably the hardest pledge, was I wanted off the medication. So I made that pledge, and I got off the medication. The other pledge was I still wanted to summit a 14er. So I was able to come back to another No Barriers trip, and we summited Mount Snuffles, which is 14,000 and change. So I got that. And then the biggest part was I was enjoying all this stuff, but my family was back home. They were in Oklahoma at the time. And I wanted them to be a part of No Barriers too. So I upped and moved my family out here, just south of Fort Collins, where the No Barriers HQ is, and volunteered have just, kept myself busy with No Barriers, even through this pandemic and stuff. I've tried to do stuff like this. We had a great experience Tuesday where we got a young lady with cerebral palsy up to the top of a mountain. That was her goal. That's what she wanted to do. And I was able to be a part of that. And even though it had nothing to do with me, my daughter was with me. I was there, I was present, and I was able to help. So it's given me a purpose. And I really just want everybody to know it's not an overnight change. This didn't happen overnight, and I'm still a long way from where I really want to be. But with the help of my rope team, my brothers, my buddies, my sisters, veterans, that I can get there, and everybody else can too. And I really hope that once this stuff goes away, we'll have a full season next year of climbing and trips and such. That I just recommend getting on one of them. It's going to put you outside your comfort zone. The biggest part in the beginning is just leaving your house, going to the airport, and flying someplace that you have no idea where you're really going. You don't know who you're going to meet. But I encourage you to do that, because the first step is just getting the hell out of your comfort zone. And that's kind of where.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
No worries.
And that was Paul's journey. Like, and like you said, it all started with him just like taking that step out of his door and, going for something. And while this program is clearly not a mountaineering trip, there is absolutely an opportunity for you all to at least be vulnerable, step out of your comfort zone. Like, just give yourself, it's 2 hours a week, and it's an hour a week where you can connect with people on a very, very genuine basis. And, to use Paul as an example, you will get out of a No Barriers program, no matter where it is or what it is, what you put into it. So if you come and check out, and this is the only time you're here, like I thank you for coming, and that's awesome. But if you take this opportunity to complete we made all these goals like very attainable, very easy, very mellow, with the intent that we want you guys to feel a little bit out of your comfort zone of doing, but not overwhelmed. So again, you'll get out of this program what you put into it. And then one of the reasons that I had Paul and Richard on at the same time is that Paul was the veteran that Richard and Creativets worked with last year at or 2 years ago, or no, last year at our No Barrier Summit in Tahoe. So Paul got to work with these guys and had a song made. And Paul, what was that experience like?
It was a very emotional experience. I met Richard just briefly before we went up to the room and sat down with some really awesome songwriters and musicians, and what they got out of me in 2.5, 3 hours, and the song that they created around it, just still, I mean, I can't listen to it without just really getting emotional. It was nice. It was liberating. It just kind of put what I said before and kind of the direction I'm trying to get into, and somehow they captured that in a 2.5, 3 hour, maybe even shorter time frame. And it was a wonderful experience. And meeting Richard and just hearing his story, it was so motivating. And it was something else that I was able to take and build off of. I think every relationship and everybody that I've met post coming into the program has had some impact on my life. And Richard and Creativets definitely had an impact on my life. And I hadn't talked to him since then, but I just want to tell you, Richard, that was a great experience. And I still really appreciate that time that we had up in the room, and I'll never forget it.
Thanks so much, Paul. That means so much.
Yeah, Richard, what's it like to hear somebody, tell their story that you have had such a direct impact in, you know, and it's recent too, you know, like this is within the last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so cool because it's like, because I know what he's feeling. It's not like these songwriters, they get to tell his story and they hope they wish they could feel what he's feeling in that moment, but I went through it. And so every time I'm able to be like, holy crap, my story, my gunner who was killed didn't die for no reason. Every time I hear a story like Paul's, I'm like, that's why Luke lived. It was so that Paul could have his song. And it's always emotional. And it's just, that's why I put everything I can into it. And we, like earlier, we talked about those rights, but there's always a peer mentor in the rights. And so before Creativets expanded, and we still are not a very big nonprofit, but I did every single right with every single veteran, even as the executive director and co-founder. And it just recently to where we have whole retreats without me. But every once in a while I still jump in it. But I mean, it's amazing every time. I love it when we come out of it. And there's some veterans who, when they come out of it, don't have like, you could tell they love it, but it's still like you could tell their emotions are getting the best of them, so they don't really react. But with Paul's, there's instantly, you knew you got it right off the bat. It was amazing.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty powerful song to hear from the audience. And just, you know, for me as a staff member here, like I remember vividly both of the Creativets experiences at our summits, and just looking around the room. And I don't know that I've ever seen that many captivated eyes. Like a lot of people pay attention, but it was like true captivation. Like people were just like right there, like emotionally with everybody. It was super powerful. So yeah, and I would love to play a clip of that song for you guys. And please bear with me. I have not tested this out yet, so I'm going to try to share my screen and play this song. And could you guys hit it in the chat if you can hear it? So I'm going to share my screen right now, and then I'll play the song. And as the song's playing, I'll let it play for a while. If you guys have any questions for Paul or Richard, we're going to have, you know, about 10 minutes for these guys to answer any questions you have for them, any comments. So hit that Q&A with your questions. And also, if you know, if the music doesn't start playing, we'll figure something out.
We'll make Paul sing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I for sure was not the singer.
I wear a smile to hide my pain. I've been ashamed of feeling shame. If I'm honest, I'm not honest when I'm looking at myself. I wish that I could see me like everybody else. Just because I'm hurting don't mean I'm not worth it. Took 15 years back home to know I didn't have to walk alone. I'm alive, do I deserve it? Sometimes I don't think that I do, but I have a purpose. Have a purpose. Say goodbye to the world with the bottle because of that. It was so damn hard to leave it all in the past. But I'm still here and I'm still damn it. I'm just trying to find a reason why I'm still standing. Just because I'm hurting don't mean I'm not worth it. Took 15 years back home to know I didn't have to walk alone. I'm alive, do I deserve it? Sometimes I don't think that I do, but I have a purpose. knows how far I've got. But I put 1,000 miles on this broken road. Just because I'm hurting don't mean I'm not worth it. Took 15 years back home to know I didn't have to walk alone. I'm alive, do I deserve it? Sometimes I don't think that I do, but sometimes I don't think that I do, but I must have a purpose. Have a purpose.
Oh man, every time.
Woo. Yep.
Yeah. So that is Paul's song. And yeah, it's powerful stuff, you guys. Dig in the comments because it is pretty unreal to hear it again, and it hasn't lost its impact. At all.
I've probably only listened to it 3 times since then. I've sent it off to friends and family and whatnot, but it's tough. I mean, it's just so spot on, because at the end of the day, that's what's kept me going is my a purpose, having renewed purpose, and they got that out of me. I mean, it was just so powerful being with Richard and those songwriters and musicians for them to come up with that. I mean, again, that was all done within a couple hours, and for them to be so, they just looked into my soul and they brought it out. So, you know, that's what they do at Creativets, and what a great experience it was, and still is.
Yeah, very cool. And Richard, thanks again for sharing that song with me to share with these folks. That was. I initially was gonna play 60 seconds of it. And we got into it, and it's like, no, there's no way we're not playing the whole damn song.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about these songs too. And like you said, Paul, like some of these veterans will listen to them every day, and it's their kind of anthem. Then we have those too who listen to it very rarely, but they share it because, and that's the thing. I want veterans to. Nobody will be able to talk you off the ledge better than yourself. And so, if you ever get into a situation now where you feel depressed again, or you feel like you don't have a purpose, you pop this song in, and it's your voice telling you that you have a purpose. So that's the whole ultimate goal of this too, is just having that song. Like if I had the one, like my song to me is legitimately, it's called Angel on My Shoulders, but it's telling me that I got to live for both me and Luke. And so that's like my go-to song. If I'm ever feeling super crappy, if I ever got to that point, I'd pop in that song and it's like, hey, stupid, you got to live for both of us now. And so that's it's my own voice telling me. So yeah, it's awesome. I see a ton of people asking about where to find these songs. And just recently we partnered with Big Machine Label Group. So Big Machine Records, they have like Justin Moore, Florida Georgia Line, Lady A, Rascal Flatts, Tim McGraw. They've actually partnered with us and have been releasing our music. And so we have Creativets Volume 1 that's out right now. So as of July 3rd, anybody listening to this can just, you can also, what's really cool is if you have an Amazon device, all you have to say is, Alexa, play me music by veterans, and it'll play our album if you have Amazon Music, which is a part of our vision, is to be in the homes of every veteran in the United States. But yeah, just search Creativets Veteran Songs. You'll see Volume 1. It has 11 of our songs on there. And then we have another release November 6th with 10 more songs. Well, 7 Creativets songs. And they're doing a re-release of like an Aaron Lewis song, a Justin Moore song, and a Brantley Gilbert song. But yeah, I mean, Paul, one of these times we release, your songs can go up on that album if you want it to. So we plan on being the one-stop shop for all veteran music. So, you know how it's like, now that's what I call music 17. It's gonna be like Veteran Songs Volume 20. So.
Heck yeah. Well, Richard, we do have a question or two. The first question is, who is the singer?
So that's Kelsey Kulik, and it's like, sounds like Kelsey, but it's like calcium, Kalsey. Kelsey
Kulik. Get that in the chat to folks so they can look her up.
Oh yeah, she's a Canadian country artist, and what's awesome about this is we didn't know we didn't know who we were going to be writing with. Typically, if it's a male veteran, I'll bring two, like again, cultural competency, I'll bring two male songwriters. If it's a female veteran, I'll typically bring two female songwriters. But this time they didn't give us a name. So I said, you know what, I'm going to bring a male and a female songwriter just in case whoever we get. And what's funny is every time I've brought Kelsey into a situation like that, the veteran always picks her over the dude because her voice just cuts right through you. Her passion, the way she picks, the way she does everything. And she just got nominated for a CCMA, which is the Canadian Country Music Awards. And she's doing all that right now, but she's just a phenomenal person. She's written with like, I think 9 of our veterans now, and she just keeps giving back. So yeah, look her up and find her on Instagram. And she's actually now, oh, and you guys might love this. They just, because of COVID, they had to go back to Canada, her and her husband, who's also an artist, Canadian artist. And they took a van and they redid it. And now they're traveling the country playing shows from their van, socially distanced. It's absolutely amazing. It's called like Love on the Road is their Instagram for that. And their YouTube and everything. It's pretty awesome what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And if you want to, like, anything you can add about her or you guys in the comments, just to give people a little bit more information to look on and, support those people that support us. It's much appreciated. There's another question here for you. And it is, where do you see Creativets in the next 5 years? And what would you consider a success for the future?
Yeah, I mean, my huge vision, because we started in 2013, and my huge vision was to be in the homes of every veteran in the United States through online art education, through songwriting, through music, through everything. So we stream every week. We stream songwriting classes for free on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for like songwriting and art classes. We slowed down a little bit now as we expand. But I mean, my ultimate vision is to catch up on our waiting list ultimately, because everyone wants to do this, obviously, because it's an amazing program, but it costs a ton per veteran because I would rather invest, say, 5,000 in one veteran and then 5,000 in 10 veterans, because I want to make sure I'm giving them everything I can to make sure that they're going home with something. And because I've taken that route in the organization, it just means we're backlogged. So ultimately, a success and a vision is to catch up on our waiting list, but we're doing that not with our main programs, but by offering these secondary programs. Like, we never had this before. It just started maybe a year and a half ago. We started our partnership with Country Music Hall of Fame to offer online songwriting classes to at least get veterans in the door. And then we have community classes. We have classes with the Dallas Museum of Art. And now we're doing a lot of online classes, even with some VA hospitals and some other people. So we're going to continue to grow in that way and hopefully have multiple albums after that. And just a bigger vision than that is being in the military. I want veterans to understand that when you're coming out, you have your separation and transition, but then I want you to have a legitimate art and music like class that teaches you, hey, when you get out, also you can lean in on this. If you ever need to help yourself, pick up the guitar or pick up some paints or do this. I just want them to have that as an option. And I just recently had some calls with the USO, which is hopefully actually going to get us into that realm.
Heck yeah, that's super cool. And I guess just with the understanding that, like, I'm sure like you guys, No Barriers, we wish we could bring every single veteran, every single person in need on one of our expeditions. But in reality, that's just it's not logistically possible. Do you have any recommendations or suggestions for what folks can do just kind of on their own? Do you guys offer any kind of, pre-recorded courses or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're legitimately just looking into a system to have like a Creativets University almost of ourselves that we have classes on. But for now, if you go to Creativets YouTube, like we have Creativets Vivo, which is our music channel, then Creativets just in general YouTube, it has every single stream that we've ever done on it. We've had already 4,000 hours watched, but we have famous collage artists teaching you how to do collage. We have Grammy award-winning songwriters. Actually, Tim Fagan, who went to the first No Barriers retreat, he's teaching ukulele, guitar lessons. We have Rick Beersford, who is a #1 writer. He's stood up the songwriting school at Belmont. He has a George Jones #1. He teaches on our channel every Tuesday and Friday at, I think, 11 a.m. So if you follow Creativets Facebook or YouTube, you're going to see these shows pop up, and you can actually interact with them right there, being like, hey, Rick, I'm a very beginner. I'm a veteran. I would love to learn more. And he'll engage with you right there. So those are the first steps into it. And then as you register for our programs, we'll get to you. It's just, it may take a little bit longer if you're going for our top tier programs.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And again, guys, definitely I've posted the link to Creativets website. Give Richard and his organization a follow. on, all their social media channels. It's just good stuff, good vibes in your news feed, good things to hear about, and a great resource to share with friends. So Richard, we are running out of time, but I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on here and sharing your story. And then personally, just thank you for everything you did with Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. It's great to hear your voice again. I'm glad that everything is going really well for you and your organization. Having a backlog means that you're doing it right. So
Thanks, man.
Thank you for not just what you've done for me, but what you're continuing to do for our community.
I appreciate it, Paul, man. That means the world to me, and I'm gonna keep on fighting and keep on writing.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
All right, cool. Thanks, Richard.
Yep. You guys have a good one.
You too, bro.
All right. So everybody, to finish off our session, I have two more things. So we are going to talk about the at-home activity. So every week, once you guys get your packets, if you haven't got them already, there's going to be a piece of paper that you rip open, and it's going to have stuff like this in it. And it's just some instructions and some ideas and some examples of this at-home activity. And they all align with these no barriers life elements. And if you read the book that we've given you guys, it really describes them all in pretty great detail and gives some awesome examples. I'm trying to keep these community sessions a little bit short and just be respectful of your time and understand that sitting in front of a screen, for more than 45 minutes or so, it can be a little daunting for some folks, including myself. So this week's activity focuses around vision, and all these life elements, they all play out in a chain. And as we go through, I'll kind of like go back and talk about how the one we talk about plays on the past one. So the first one we talk about is vision. And vision is just, again, it's creating this mentality, this thought of what you want your life to be, what you want your identity, purpose, and community to be. And the activity that we pose to y'all is to build a cairn. And a cairn is, if any of you guys are hikers, you see those piles of rocks. It's like a big rock, then a small rock, then a small rock, and a small rock. And it's just these organized stacks of rocks. And cairns really do tie to vision, because when you can't tell where the trail is going, you typically look for cairns. And cairns they're your waypoints. They're your wayfinders. So what we want you guys to do is to go out somewhere, preferably somewhere with rocks. You can use anything to build a cairn. You can build books off your bookshelf. You can use your kids' Legos. You can do whatever the hell you want, as long as it's stuff that stacks on top of each other. But as you build your cairn, and this is a great opportunity to go outside, the best cairn rocks are next to rivers and waterways. So if you can take a little hike and get outside, I highly recommend it. But if you think about each one of those rocks that you place onto your cairn as a value that you have that is going to carry you toward this vision that you have for yourself. So I want you guys to assign each of those rocks a value that you feel you have or that you want, and just give that identity to each of those rocks. And as you think about that, the biggest rocks on the bottom support all the rocks on top of them. So, put a lot of thought into like what your big bottom rock is, like what's that value that you feel the rest of the stack would just tumble down without. So in the email that Kelsey sent you out today, and I know Kelsey's in the chat somewhere. Kelsey is my coworker. She's friggin' amazing. So it's her and I that will be putting together this program and communicating with you guys. If you ever need anything, reach out to Kelsey or myself. You should have both of our emails at this point. And if not, I'll get those to you. But Kelsey sent you that email. There is a link for you to upload these things. So uploading these activities. So as you build your cairn, we just want you to snap a quick picture, upload it to that site, write a short paragraph about it, or a long story. It's all good. And that'll count toward part of your completion of this course. That's going to get you close to the end result, which is, hopefully just a better idea of who you are and where you want to be. And also, another prize package, which we're not afraid to dangle those carrots to keep the horses running. So reach out to us if you have any questions about those activities. And that takes us to our last bit of the piece, which is our prize drawing. So you must be present to win. So for all you guys that hung in there for the end, congratulations. So we're going to do a prize drawing. Our prize today is a Topo Designs backpack. Topo is a pretty sweet company that builds high quality gear. They're based out of Colorado, one of our local companies. And we're not just giving you the backpack, we're gonna load it up with some day hiking gear. So we got a Petzl headlamp, quality stuff. What else we got in there, Paul?
Let's see.
We got a Sawyer mini water filter, so you can drink out of mud puddles if you're so inclined. We got a Adventure Medical hiker medical kit, just in case you take a digger, get a little scuffed up, patch you or your dog up, you know.
And actually, my favorite,
Yeah.
which we've already tried out, it's razor sharp.
Yeah, and we have a Mora knife, bushcrafter knife, which is one of our facilitators, Peter, is he's huge into bushcrafting. He's like, Nate, you got to check out these Mora knife things. So I bought some. They're pretty rad. So that is our backpacking kit. Is there anything else in there, Paul?
One last thing, a nice Nalgene bottle.
Standard Nalgene. Yeah. So all this stuff's going to come. So it's all one prize only. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, so you know we're on the up and up here at No Barriers, giving away our prizes. Currently, there are 187 people that have registered for this course, and our facilitators are on there as well.
Nice.
Our facilitators cannot win, and nobody can win twice in a row, but you do have to be present to win. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. We're going to use our random number generator and pick a number. Number 185, and we're going to go to 185, William Longworth. Is William Longworth. William Longworth, if you're here, I'm going to look through the attendees real quick and see if William's on. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
William, you might have missed out. Yeah, it looks like William missed out. We'll go back to our number generator. And number 21. Christine Hoagland. Christine, are you out there? I'm looking. Christine. Oh, man. I'm sorry there's not a more efficient way to do this, you guys. We feel this is pretty fair. Next. Yeah, you guys are in a hurry. Sharks. All right, looks like Christine's not there. We'll go back to the number generator. 24. All right. Christopher Parrish. Is Christopher Parrish here? Here, Chris Parrish.
Yay!
All right.
All right.
Heck yeah, Chris. So I'm going to write your name down here. And we will get that in the mail to you, my man. And I don't know, Paul, what do you think?
Since this is our first webinar and maybe my last chance to be here, I think we need to give away another one.
Yeah, so we figured we'd have another backpack full of the same stuff, just in some different colors for you guys. So let's see, we'll go back to our random number generator. And all right, roll the dice. 122. And number 122 is Martin Velez. Martin, you there? Martin. Nope, no Martin on here. Oh, sorry, Martin. All right, back to it. Number 83. John Stevens. John Stevens, you out there? John Stevens. Nope, doesn't look like it. Oh, man. All right. We'll go back to our number randomizer. Number 120. Sorry, guys. Oh, man, this is the anticipation. Has got to be killing you guys. Lynette Lynn. Lynette Lynn, are you out there? Lynette, all right.
Yes, there. All right.
Sweet. So Lynette Lynn, you are our other winner. And yeah, super stoked that you guys were here to win some prizes. We'll be giving away prizes every week. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's more than one. You never know unless you hang out until the end. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining us for our initial Warriors community meeting. I hope you guys enjoy building cairns this weekend and look for your squad assignments either tomorrow or over the weekend. And I truly hope that you guys join in on your squad meetings, get to know your squad mates, have fun, and hang in for the long haul with us. It's 6 weeks. We're going to bring you some good fun, some good people, and make some fun connections. So I'm going to leave the chat up for a while if you guys want to shoot the breeze with each other. But Paul and I are signing off. Paul, thanks for joining me, brother. All right.
Pleasure to be here.
Good night, everybody.